heading?
We are headed to Langtry, Texas.
What are we going to see in Langtry?
Judge Rving.
What did he do?
He's a famous judge. Made a movie about him. I think Paul Newman was in it.
Alright, see you in Langtry.
Welcome back, Barton Rving family. Thank you for joining us on another week's adventure. Today we're going to Langtry, Texas, but on the way we seen a couple wild goats just wandering around the road. I'm thinking they're wild. I don't think they're escaped because I think we've seen them wandering around 2 days in a row. But anyways, let's get back on the road on the way to Langtry, Texas. Well, before we head on to Langtry, we spotted a national parks sign, and it's part of the Amistad National Park system. So we pulled over to check it out real quick. It was on the way, and what it seemed like seemed like they used to have campsites, or at least picnic sites there, but a lot of it was abandoned. And then when we got towards to the entrance, where they had newer buildings, we kind of realized that all it was a boat launch place for people to drop their boats and go into the Pecos fishing or whatever, what have you. And there was a few trails. We kind of looked at them, and it's probably a site I need to come back to and explore. But it was getting hot, and maybe in the winter I'll come back and try that. So let's get back on the road to Langtry. The reason why we're going to Langtry, Texas is there is I guess it's a visitor center and a exhibit for Judge Rving. If you don't know who Judge Rving is, he's a famous West Texas judge, and I think his motto or the saying was always, he's the only law west of the Pecos. And there's a lot of literature and history about him. And actually, there was a TV show that was made about Judge Rving. I'm embarrassed to say I haven't seen that one, and I did watch a couple of episodes. And there is a movie about Judge Rving, which had a pretty famous actor portray him, which was Paul Newman. And I'm ashamed to say I haven't seen that movie either. I'll put it on my list though. Well, enjoy the rest of the trip going down the road. Looks like we're the first to get here. The first thing I notice is that there's a lot of desert plants all around the visitor center. The biggest thing I noticed was the saguaro cactus. That's a big cactus that's supposed to be only grown wild in Arizona. In fact, I have a little thing to read about it. The saguaro is a tree-like cactus species that could grow over to be 12 meters tall. It is native to the Sonoran Desert in Arizona, the Mexican state of Sonora, and the Whipple Mountains of Imperial County areas of California. And it's also the saguaro blossom is a state wildflower Arizona. So this plant shouldn't really be here, but maybe somebody planted it there and kind of nurtured it. But this is the first saguaro cactus I've ever seen in Texas. Judge Roy Bean. He was born in 1825, died in March 16, 1903. He was an American saloon keeper and justice of the peace in Val Verde County. He also called himself the only law west of the Pecos. According to legend, he held court in his saloon along the Rio Grande on a desolate stretch of Chihuahuan Desert of southwest Texas. After his death, Western films and books cast him as a hanging judge, although he is known to have sentenced only 2 men to hang, one of them who escaped. As we step out of the saloon/courthouse, a walking trail appears. It meanders through a desert garden. I know all these plants are aided by a sprinkler system, but they are all native to this area.
This is the other tree that I fell in love with here. It is beautiful. Let me show it to you. It has these beautiful yellow little flowers on it. Wish they had the names on them.
This is the one you said, Bartons?
Yeah. At Rving's Opera House, Town Hall, and Seat of Justice. The Opera House. Judge Rving's home, built after the original Jersey Lily Saloon burnt down, was known as the Opera House. Let's go inside. Insects of the Chihuahuan Desert. Insects account for more species than all other animal groups combined in the Chihuahuan Desert. I have been fortunate not to see any of these while we've been there. Thank God.
Judge Bean renamed the town from Vinegaroon to Langtry for his admiration of the English actress Lily Langtry. The sad part of this story was that Judge Bean finally got Lily to visit Langtry, but Judge Bean died 6 months before she arrived in her private train. When the two railways reached from east to west, a silver spike was hammered into the rail to signify completion. Several years later, in 1890, Southern Pacific began a new bridge that would save miles and straighten the route over the Pecos. It took just 3 months to build this at a cost of $250,000. This was the third highest railroad bridge in the world at this time. We crossed this bridge earlier in the day on our way to Langtry, but you just can't get the real beauty of the bridge until you go to the top of the rest stop and look down on it. This bridge was completed in 1957 at 273 feet above the river. It is the highest bridge in Texas. Writers and historians have always admired the Pecos for its mineral-thick waters, sudden floods. It has been called a strange river and a barricade. Western author Zane Grey wrote, "Rising clear and cold in the mountains of northern New Mexico, its pure water cut through rough country that changed its flood to turbid red." The Pecos is where the mythic Wild West begins, the land that produced the legendary Judge Rving and the fabled Pecos Bill. You don't know what you're missing if you have never sat out in the West Texas desert and watched the sun set. Now that is truly the end.